Welcome to Slay, the podcast where we dive into all aspects of female health, fitness, and life. I'm your host, Louise Hazel, and in today's episode, we'll be diving into the topic of hair care, entrepreneurship, and the importance of finding your niche. Our special guest today has turned her passion for braiding into a successful business which has attracted the likes of the Kardashians. Her business not only celebrates the art of braiding, but also prioritizes the health and well-being of her clients by using non-toxic hair products. In today's conversation, she'll be sharing her journey into the world of hairstyling, what inspired her to start her own line of products, and we'll explore the benefits and the challenges that she's faced in her entrepreneurial journey, and the impact that her work has had on her clients and the broader community. Whether you're a hair enthusiast, a fellow braider, or someone interested in healthier hair care solutions, this episode is for you. Get ready to be inspired and gain valuable insights into the importance of finding your niche. Joining us today to dissect this topic is a woman who has perfected the plait. It's entrepreneur and founder of House of Braid, Tassara Azad. Tassara.
What's up?
Thank you for joining us on Slay.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a while since we've had a good catch up, isn't it?
I know. How long has it been? I don't even want to know.
Honestly, it's been over a year. But here's what I will say. First and foremost, if you haven't been to Tassara's page, and I don't know if there's a story that you posted this week or a video of you spinning that basketball on your finger.
Oh, yeah. How funny was that?
She's multi-talented. I showed it to Eric. He was most impressed.
No way.
So before you were a braider, you were a basketball player.
I was.
Let's start there.
I know. Crazy, right? I know. It's something that I don't really talk about all too often. But yeah, most of my childhood, I was a tomboy and I was playing a lot of sports. Not only basketball, but I was doing karate competitively.
Wow.
For over 20 years. And the piano.
You come from a fairly big family, 2 sisters.
Yeah.
And I was, we were chatting just before the cameras were rolling. And I was saying one of the things I pick up on you is this entrepreneurial energy. It's really, really strong. And I don't know whether it comes through. And I kind of feel the same because my parents had their own business. They ran a pub back in the UK. And I think that there's something about growing up in an entrepreneurial family where you can never really see yourself working for someone else.
For sure.
Is that true for you?
That is true. My dad actually runs his own rug business. He's in the wholesale rug industry. And growing up, I always saw him go to work. And, that was his number one priority, was being a working father. And my mom was, she was the head of the neck of the household. Mm-hmm. The father's the head, the mom's the neck. My mom always tells me that.
Yeah, head doesn't exist without the
neck, right? And so my mom, it's a full-time job to be a mother, and she took care of us. She took us to all of our sports activities. She made sure we attended every practice. Took us all to different schools. Cooked for us. She was our number one supporter, along with my dad as well. But, we do come from an entrepreneurial family.
That's absolutely shines through. Now, before there was braiding, there was basketball. But then what led you down the path of braiding? Because you studied psychology major?
Yes.
At USC, right?
Yes. So braiding kind of came in later on in life. But growing up, I had really curly hair, which many people don't. You only know if you grew up with me that I had curly hair, mm-hmm. But for the most part, a lot of people don't know because I hated my curly hair.
Got you.
So throughout my whole entire life, I was straightening and blow drying because that was what was in fashion growing up. You know, curly hair is not what it is now. Everyone now loves to rock their curls, mm-hmm. But growing up, it wasn't deemed as something that was beautiful, mm-hmm. As sad as it sounds. So I was always the person, I played a lot of sports. So I was always doing fun, different styles with my hair. Mm-hmm. And one of them was braiding. Yeah. It wasn't I was braiding my hair every single time, but I was wearing clip-on hair extensions in the 6th grade. I was pretty advanced when it came to hair care. Yeah. At a young age. So yeah.
Now, the crazy thing is when I think back to my biggest performances, I look back at those photos back in 2010, 2012, and I've got 2 pitiful braids that I had to do myself because, there is no barber in the Olympic Village. There's no one to help you. But, as a sports person, what you're talking about really is just having practical hair that's off of the face, that's not going to frizz up when you are sweating a bunch. And
sure.
it's a real challenge. Where's your curly hair come from? Your dad's
My
side?
dad's side, actually.
Got you.
Yeah, everyone on my dad's side, including my dad, has curly hair.
Oh, got you. Have you ever braided his hair?
No, my dad has no barely any hair right now.
I love it.
If I was like 1 year old and I could braid, yeah, maybe then during that time. But no, I have obviously never braided my dad's hair.
So I was reading online that you were basically saying that your kind of passion for curls came from this like discomfort or the passion for braiding come from this discomfort with your own curls. Mm-hmm. And so what was it that made you finally kind of like lean into it as a career path? Were you doing something before braiding where you were just like, I want a certain level of freedom, or was it always in you?
I was like you said earlier before we started shooting, a lot of people get flustered about what they want to do during college. You don't really know what you want to do during that time because you're really young, and there's a lot of pressure, especially living in LA, of like, what am I going to do? What's next? And I kind of feel like for me, I was really into a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. A part of me growing up, I was like, I knew, like, I had this feeling in my gut, like, I'm going to be successful. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be successful, whatever. Like, I wasn't like so much of a school person. Mm-hmm. I was a sports person. Like, basketball was my like everything. Mm-hmm. I was playing basketball, club basketball all throughout my life. And that was my number one priority over school, as bad as that sounds. But I really also liked fashion, and I thought I wanted to be like a fashion designer. Mm-hmm. Right before college. I was like, I'm going to go into fashion. And the funniest thing is I have a sister who's like a year younger than me. And then I have a sister that's a couple years younger than me, like 3 years younger than me. But my sister that was 1 year younger than me, we shared a room growing up. Mm-hmm. And she like knew how much time I would take on my hair. Like it was a thing. I was doing not only my hair, I was doing my friend's hair. I was ending up doing their mom's hair. Then I would do my sister's hair, and then I'd do my cousin's hair. And everyone would always ask me to do their hair. But like, I didn't know that I wanted to do that because hairstyling wasn't as popular. Being a hairstylist or a manicurist wasn't as popular as what it is like today.
Yeah.
Because of social media, everyone's able to do whatever they want and be really good at it and successful at it.
Yeah.
But during that time, it wasn't popular. My sister, before I went to college, was like, I remember exactly where I was standing. I was in my kitchen, and she looked at me. She's like, you should go into hair. And I was like, but I don't want to. And she was like, but you're really good at it. And I was like, well, okay, too bad. I don't want to go to hair. I was like, I'm going to go into fashion. And at one point, I never forgot that. But what led me into braiding was in one of my college classes, I took a business course, and ironically, in this one, I don't know, we had really successful people come and speak into our class.
Yeah.
And I remember one guy specifically said, if you're going to do a business, get into something that's niche related. And I was like, why was that the only thing I picked up in that whole class? I don't remember anything else. But for some reason, I'm like, was it the guy who owned Wahoo Tacos? I feel like one of those creators was like, do something that's niche related and you'll be perfect it so like well, and you'll be so successful. And I remember like after college, I was like talking about being all over the place. I got into finance, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do finance because I was really good at math. And I was like taking the Series 6 exam, the life and health insurance exam. I took all those exams. I studied so hard. I passed, but then I was like, oh God, I do not want to take another test. I don't want to study. I ended up like saying, screw this. Uh-huh. I'm going to look for a job. So then I became a recruiter. Yeah. And I was like a technical recruiter. And I did that for 8 months. And that was like fun. It was like, very like college energy, like they just reward you like by taking you out and getting you drunk and stuff like that. But I don't know, I really hated it. So I quit. And I was like, God, what am I going to do with my life? I wanted to, I was actually working in fashion for a little bit, and I worked as a social media intern for like a couple weeks for the head of Fashion Nova. Wow. Before Fashion Nova was anything, I was working for, I think his name was Rich. Before Fashion Nova blew up. Wow. In a like little small hole in the wall. But
so you literally stayed there for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I was there for like maybe I'll say a month as their social media intern. And I'm like, okay, this seems sketchy. So bad.
What made you move on? Were you just
I was like, what is this? I was just like, because it was like in a whole like, I mean, I'm not disregarding what he's doing. Obviously, he created like a multi-billion-dollar business. But in his beginning days, this was his startup. Like he was in a hole in the wall in downtown. It was like very like rough, And I was like, I found this job on Indeed, and I was like, what is this job? Like, this seems sketchy. But so then I just stopped showing up. I'm like, I'm not gonna go anymore. I just didn't even say anything. I just left.
So you didn't get a reference?
No, I definitely did not get a reference. I just stopped showing up, and they actually didn't even I don't think they even hit me up. I was like, okay, this seems very weird. But then, long story short, I ended up, I ended up thinking like, okay, after I just quit my technical recruiting job, my parents were like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I have no idea. So I was like, look, I literally took a notebook and I would write down all these crazy ideas, like what's niche related, what can I do? And I really got inspired by Drybar's business plan.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like she created this business just for blowouts.
Yeah.
And then I was on Pinterest and I started seeing braids pop up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I remember I used to braid my hair. Where do people go to get their hair braided? So now, yes, it is a little bit more common to find a braider like through social media and whatnot, but I was looking around and I found it really difficult to find a braider that was like a business, you know, that focused on all different types of hair textures, all different types of hairstyles, all different types of people. And, you know, we're living in LA. Beauty is important. And there's just so many people that, you know, think braids are beautiful. And I was like, God, like I could probably do something with braids. I don't know what happened, but I was just like thinking one day in my room, got really lit. And I was like, you know, like we can scratch that part out.
We're leaving that bit in.
But I was like thinking in my room, I was like, what can I do? Like, what's the name going to be? I don't want to do braid bar. I was like, I think we can do I could do a braiding business. Like accepts all different types of people, all different types of textures, you know, from all walks of life, you know? And then I was like, oh my God, braid started from the house. How about House of Braid? And that's kind of how it came up. And I remember so many people used to be like, why House of Braid? Why not change it to Braid Bar or something like that? I'm like, no, I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm just going to go with what I feel because you know what's best for you.
Absolutely.
You know, like you're going to probably have a lot of people coming down the road, like telling you, trying to change your mind. But if you have this gut feeling, you should go with your gut feeling. And I had this gut feeling I could make this into something. And luckily I had really supportive parents. And my mom was like, let's do it. And she went and got all my like little box, like my little kit. And she ordered everything for me. And obviously like, I didn't know, like, I knew how to braid like, you know, Dutch braids and like.
Where did you start? Like, what was it when you first started and you were like, you know, coming out of college, you're like, okay, I'm starting this business. Like, you know, you must have had some skill, but it's probably not where it is now.
I never really had like even like a real job. I even worked at BCBG at one time in my life for like 7 months. I never really had like a real job. And honestly, I feel like my upbringing, my parents never like really pressured us into working, you know, and they were just all about, my mom was really all about like sports and like making sure I took, you know, was like at all my practices and all my games and everything. But
so when you started braiding, you were braiding it from your mum's house?
I was braiding from my parents' house. I started out of my bedroom.
Got you.
And luckily my parents are really chill. Our house growing up was like the fun house, to be honest with you. We used to throw my sister and I would throw parties. Like the whole basketball team would come over, the men's team and the girls team. Everyone would be like hanging out.
That sounds great.
It was like a fun time.
Do you still have like cookouts and stuff?
Well, not as much because I don't live there anymore. But like, yeah, my sisters will bring friends over. Like, my parents are really chill. They love to entertain.
I'm coming over. This sounds great.
My mom loves to feed people. She's
love
like,
it.
You need to eat. You need
love
to eat.
It.
I think it's like a Persian thing because, you know, I'm Iranian and Persians are known to like force food down your throat. But yeah, so I basically like started at my parents' house in my bedroom, and I would, luckily since I grew up here, a lot of my friends were like, oh, this is a really cool idea. So they would refer me to people, and my prices were really cheap. Like, I think I was like $20, $30 at one point because I didn't feel comfortable like really charging much. I just wanted to like get experience. So I did a lot of free work in the beginning.
And how did that change over time? Like you go from like, you know, one day you're braiding. I remember seeing you during the pandemic. You're braiding in the backyard of your parents' house. The next minute you're being called up, presumably to braid for the Kardashians.
Right.
Like, how did that come about? Talk me through that story.
So interesting. But I had this feeling like before I started even House of Braid, while I was building it, I was like, oh, I'm going to obviously go to their house and I'm probably going to braid one of them. I like had this feeling. And then I told my sisters, I told my bestest friends, I was like, I don't know why I have this feeling, you know, like, because they're very entrepreneurial themselves and they somehow know everyone around them is also great. Everyone that works for them is amazing. And they know they find the best of the best in anything that they do. So I had this feeling like if I get really good at what I do, like I will go there. Like
They'll come and seek me out.
They'll seek me out, or like I think I manifested it, honestly. Like I manifested this whole thing that's happening for me, you know? So I think if you really believe in what you want in your life, like you can attract that.
100%.
Yeah.
So did the call come? Was it call? Was it text message? Was it
No,
email?
actually, you know, who's one of my favorite people actually is Tracy Romulus. And she really brought me into that whole world. She found me on Google and Instagram, and she had sent me an email and a DM. And she asked me to come over, and I knew who she was. Yeah, I obviously grew up watching the Kardashians, so I was well aware of everyone.
She's
that was
also
around them.
dope in and of her own accord. So stylish.
She's stylish. She's a businesswoman.
Yeah,
she's up there. You know, like she's a great role model, actually.
Yeah,
you know, as a wife, as a businesswoman, as a person, and I kind of felt like when I went there, I was like, you know, I went there actually on her daughter's birthday. So all her in-laws were there. Her whole family was there. And I was there to do like a style that took like 7 hours for me.
Wow.
So I got really well acquainted with everyone there. And it was a very comfortable atmosphere. And
I was going to say, were you
welcomed.
nervous?
No, not at all. I think because they made me feel comfortable. I don't really I get nervous on certain situations, but this one I didn't really get nervous. Because I think I was already so accustomed to talking to so many people because of this career path that I chose, that this was very easy for me. And me and her were talking, and she's like, oh, like this is a really cool like idea, because she saw my Instagram, and I also built a website. So to backtrack, I started House of Braid. I was like, okay, I don't see anyone that has a braiding business that has a website, and I think it's really important when you start a business to have a place to direct your customers.
100%.
And also, no one wants to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, no one's trying to DM and book. You just want to go online, not talk, and just book and make it easy. And then you just show up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to go back and forth with someone and be like, you know, come here at this time, you know. So, so basically, I felt like that also drove more people to my page. Was like there was a place to go to book, and that made it really easy. But then to fast forward now to Tracy, she had told me, you know, like one day, like she's asking me what my purpose was with House of Braid. And I was like, you know, like I really want to like create a business that, you know, attracts all different types of people. And I am very knowledgeable with all hair textures because of my own. Yeah. So, and she was like, wow, that's really cool. Like you do all these different styles on all these different types of people. That's really cool. Like, what's your goal out of this? And then on top of that, I want to create a clean beauty line and sell all different types of accessories and beauty that is like attached to braiding and hairstyling, of course. And then she told me, you know what, like, you know, one day, like maybe I'll like set you up with Kim, because her kids like to get their hair braided. And then, so what she did was she messaged me and she was like, hey, do you mind going to braid my daughter at Kim's house? Yeah. I was like, of course I will go there. Are you kidding me?
I'll go on there.
Like, I was like, yeah, no problem. So I went there and I braided. North was getting her hair braided by her braider, and then I was there braiding, you know, Tracy's daughter and another friend. And that's how I kind of got introduced. Yeah. It was like a way to like scope the situation out. And then one day I remember, I think it was like Labor Day weekend. It was in September, and I was coming back from Vegas, and I got a text, and they were like, hey, this is, you know, Kim's assistant. Anyway, you can come and braid the kids' hair. So that's kind of how it started. And that was like almost 3 years ago, I feel like. And ever since then, I've been like, you know, part of their like, you know, braiding crew. Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about it. Like since then, you've been basically, your work has been featured in Vogue. Like you know, the photos that were taken, that was your hair. Do you know what I mean? That was your work. Yeah. And then you've recently been doing like some Skims campaigns as well. And so you've kind of like, you know, you've become that trusted like go-to person. Right. And, you know, a bit like personal training, you know, hair is such an intimate thing. For sure. And so like, how does that feel like a huge weight of responsibility, knowing that, you know, you're the person that's being trusted, not only with their own hair, but they're children as well. Do you know what I mean? That's just a whole nother level of intimacy.
So to me, I treat everyone the same.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a celebrity. I don't care if you're like someone that's regular schmuggler, whatever. Like, I get all different types of people from all walks of life, you know? I feel like, you know, my personality, growing up, I guess, in LA, I was very accustomed to all different types of people because I played sports. You know, I was around like, you know, I went to private school, I went to public school. I was around a lot of different types of people. So I like know how to carry myself in that type of situation, and I'm very, I think, a comfortable person to be around, and I'm like no judgment, you know, whatever happens at like, you know, whatever, if I'm around them, like I'm not judging, you know, I'm not trying to take information and take it somewhere else and like gossiping, you know, like I think they have found me to be very like comfortable and trustworthy.
I love that. We have a question actually from one of our Slay sisters online. Her name is Beauty for Ashes.
Okay.
She asked, what advice do you have for someone who's trying to attract celebrity clientele?
You know, for me, I didn't lead my business with wanting to, like, I obviously want to attract everyone, you know? Celebrities will find you.
Yep.
If you're good, they'll find you. That's really what it is, you know? There's no looking.
So maybe the aim is just like aim to be the best you can be.
Aim to be the best you can be and do a lot of free work because, you know, I forgot about this, but when I first started in 2017, 2018, I DM'd so many people. And
tell us who you DM'd and tell us who got back to you and tell us who didn't.
You know, actually who was like really someone that was a part of my growth was Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane.
Oh,
yeah,
dope.
She was a big part of my growth, and you know, I give my hat to like my all to her because she was a very creative person, and I remember during that era of time, she was doing a lot and she was very popular, and I did a lot of free stuff with her, but I didn't mind because she was so creative. She was pushing my brain outside the comfort zone.
What was she
trusted me, and I was not even that good at braiding.
Got you. So she was pushing you to do
your creative
styles.
stuff. Like it wasn't like just braids. It was like putting roses with the braids and then putting this attachment, and then I created this like zebra contraption. I don't even know how the heck I did that, but I did like, you know, I went with the flow and I sent people. I don't even remember like how many people I DM'd. I probably DM'd like over 100, and like a few, like maybe like 8, like 12 got back to me.
So would you say the key really isn't, she was giving you like a vision, you were both kind of bringing that to reality, no?
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. Like you never know who's watching you.
Yeah, for
right?
real.
And celebrities aren't just roaming around Instagram just looking at the people with the highest like followers.
They're looking for inspiration.
They're looking for inspiration, and inspiration's found through people who actually don't have much followers. You'd be surprised, and that have like, you know, really cool concepts. And yeah,
I love it. Well, here's what I will say. Like when I found you on social media, and then I realized how easy it was to book my hair, because I'm one of those people, I do not, hands up if you're with me on this one, girls, like I'm terrible when it comes to appointments. I like a walk-in. I like to either just walk in and get straight in that seat, or I'll make an appointment and like I need to know it's like timely, like people are running on time, like, you know. And so also I love the fact that, like you said, you could just book and that was it. Your schedule.
you book and you show up.
Yeah. It was
That's all you have to do.
What do you mean? There's not 10 million back and forth conversations about can you bring this, can you bring that? And I was like, you know, with my mind running my own business, just spinning all day long, the last thing I want to think about, I just want to get my braids done before I go on this trip or before I have this shoot. And so it was just so easy to be able to just come, and then so refreshing to be able to just sit in the chair and have a little chit chat with you. Yeah. But also walk out with some of the best braids I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yes.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Tassara.
I don't think we've even talked about it since you like
hands
left
down,
that day.
Some of the best braids I've had in my life. And normally when I get cornrows, you know, a week and a half, 10 days, and I'm like, well, that's done. Do you know what I mean? That's done because I'm one of them lazy people. I'm not wrapping my hair at night. I'm not doing all the bits and bobs.
I'm that lazy person too.
Yeah. I put a scarf on. The scarf ends up on the pillow in the morning. Yeah. That's a wrap. Yeah. And 10 days, but like I was still wearing your braids like a good 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks later.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of people tell me, a lot of my clients tell me they leave it in for a long time, and it looks great throughout the whole time.
let's segue, because one of the reasons I think it worked so well actually was because how well I'd never had my hair laid so well as when you did it. Facts, hands down. Like I felt like I looked like literally like my edges were fresh for a good week.
Oh wow. And coming from you, that's a lot, because look how laid your hair looks.
Well, and also look how much I sweat. I'm sweating every single day.
Yeah, you're sweating every single day.
So last time I was in the chair with you, we were talking about this product. So this was probably maybe like a year and a half ago, even 2 years ago.
2 years ago, probably.
This has taken 2.5 years to...
Yeah, it's actually taken like 2.5 years to
Tell us about what you've got there.
So this is our toxic free styling gel. I decided to get into it 2.5 years ago. Me and my partner, aka my boyfriend, but we actually worked together on this product, and we did a lot of brainstorming. And I kind of was like, I felt like a lot of the gels that were out there were, you know, not aesthetically, it didn't look cute. And then on top of that, they were just so bad for, you know, my clients or just people who are looking to get their hair braided or styled. And then the stylist or braider themselves. And so I was...
Good point, Tassara.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we notice whenever you're braiding, a lot of the time you're putting that product on the back of the hand. It's obviously, and we talking about this all the time at the gym at the moment, is like endocrine disruptors. So the chemicals that are in the products that we use every single day. And if you think about, okay, you might be wearing your hair in that style for like 2 weeks, but you're using that product every single day on your skin, and your skin is absorbing that product.
100%.
So braiders out there need to be...
cautious. And not only that, it's just like we have to be cautious. Like you said, you left it in your hair for 2.5 weeks. I felt so guilty. Like I'd be braiding like 2-year-olds, and I'm like, oh God, this thing is so toxic, and their brains are so fresh, you know, they're such fresh scalp. And I'm like, you know, putting this stuff all over them, and it's seeping into their scalp. I'm like, this is bad. And so I did my research. I like looked into all the products that were out that I like was using. Maybe I've gone through different like types of products, and a lot of them are they're so bad for you. The ingredients are just horrible. But I went to find out was that a lot of these companies, they're massive companies. You know, they are profiting off of people like braiders or people who are looking to get their hair braided. You know, in the hairstyling world, yes, there's a lot more brands and people out there that are running their own business, and then they sell it to a big company. But there's also like, you know, there's small businesses, big businesses, there's all toxic free ingredients, but in the braiding world, there isn't. Yeah. There are no toxic free products in that braiding world or lock world or twist world.
When I think of the products that I used growing up, I'm like, why was I putting pink stuff in my hair? Like pink cream in my hair? Like, what's that about?
They have like red and yellow ingredients. Like if you look at some of them, I think even Shine and Jam, which is a really popular product. There's
which, when you think of those ingredients, are like the most dangerous color chemicals. Like
100%.
that you don't want in your body, like the ones that likely have the majority of the carcinogens, i.e. things that cause cancer.
You know, if there's this like show or documentary about like Claire's or something, I forget what it's called, but they talk about how like a lot of makeup and products and stuff like that have talc and asbestos that's like so bad for you, could lead to like health issues. A lot of the not only just products, relaxers, keratin treatments, all these treatments that we all do, especially curly hair girls. I'm one of them. I'm guilty. I've used keratin treatments. They're so bad for you. They're like, I think it's called formalide or something in them.
Is it formaldehyde?
I don't even know how to say it. I'm just going to say it's formalide, but you know what it is. It's like
FOR. There's an H, a Y in there.
Something like that. Yeah, there's something like those words.
Google keratin formaldehyde.
Or relaxers. Relaxers are the worst for you.
Absolutely.
They come with so many... health issues for people.
But curly-haired girls are really, we're more susceptible, right? Because of textured hair. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's that, you know, those days when you'll feel like you're leaning into your texture. And then there are days when you feel like, okay, this needs to be calm. This needs to be laid. This needs to be like
tamed.
Yeah, and quick as well.
Yeah.
You know, in this day and age, and the reality of it is textured hair requires a lot more upkeep. And I think that we think that a lot more upkeep means more product. Yeah. But maybe what it means is cleaner products.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously that passion for, you know, helping people and keeping them safe as well, which is really interesting, led you to create the line. When did you launch?
On my birthday, April 1st.
April 1st, literally a month ago.
Literally a month ago.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so we're like receiving like some of the first batch.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I love it.
Yeah, of course.
I can't wait to use it. Talk to me about just, the experience of being an entrepreneur, but more importantly, a braider. Have you had any nightmare experiences?
I've had interesting experiences, but not so many. I've had, like I said, so many people from different walks of life, and I'm not a judgmental person. I've had people who've come from jail. Like, they're like
straight from jail?
That's
impressive.
It's not like they left jail and came to me.
They were like, no.
But
I've had my hair done.
I've had people, and I'm so intrigued by their story. I'm not like sitting there like, oh God, I'm scared. I'm like making them feel comfortable and making them feel good and confident.
Yeah.
There's nothing like, people always ask me. Right now, I'm working out of my my own home. I don't live with my parents anymore, but I work out of my own home. And people ask me, how do you trust people? Well, honestly, I trust easily sometimes, but I think when you make someone feel good and confident, like, they're not going to do much to you. Yeah. That's just my theory.
Yeah. And I also keep a taser in the drawer. So
could be naive, and also my boyfriend's home, so I it makes it easier, if anything happens, he's there.
Yeah, but the taser is just for when we do burpees.
Oh my Lord, I hate burpees.
Oh my gosh. So, was there ever a situation where you were like, oh my God, I hope that person never books again?
I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna, yeah.
Can you block people through your booking system?
I've had people that drain my energy a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
It's like it's not about like they're a bad person. It's just that they're a little bit draining. But I think, I don't know. I actually really do enjoy everyone. I really have never had like a crazy issue. I mean, I've had one thing that was really crazy, but I was like, I'm not gonna say it.
Bless you. Will you tell me off camera?
Yeah, I will.
Deal. And then I'll tell everyone on Instagram.
Yeah,
no,
for
I'm
sure.
joking. How do you feel about people who, and I think about this whenever I get my nails done, that are literally on their phone the whole time? Like, how do you feel about that? Is that is that fine for you? Like, people switching off or just tuning out and just being on their phone? Or does it feel like, are people getting more disengaged? Do you know what I mean? Like, what have you noticed?
Surprisingly, most people, I think, because I talk a lot with the person that's sitting in that chair, they actually put their phone away. We're like having great conversation.
Yeah.
I don't mind. You're able to do whatever you want. I'm not going to be annoyed. I get it. I'm on my phone too.
Yeah.
I'm at the nail salon. I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't really like chat too much because my brain is on like a million different things. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of my clients, they're not even on their phone.
Yeah. Because you're a bloody good
that right
conversationalist. Now, you also offer one-to-one classes. Now, my friend Raki has a question for you. I actually hit her, texted her. I was like, what questions do you have? Because we were talking about you recently.
Okay.
She has a young girl and she's been trying to braid her hair and she says, I don't know I don't know what I'm doing. Her question was, how do you know when to fix mistakes in a French/Dutch braid and when do you start over? So her daughter's like, Mommy, I want the Dutch braids. And Raki has been trying, I'm calling you out now, Raki, we all know it's you, it's all good. She's like, how do you perfect that? When it starts to go wrong, perhaps gets a little bit too loose, do you just start over from the top? Do you keep going? Do you just lock it in? What's the deal?
There's no like right or wrong answer. I feel like, you mess up, you start over. For me, when I was starting out braiding, it's all about time, the amount of time you keep trying to do it, right? So you don't have to have the most perfect braids the first time you do it. You just have to try and then revisit and then try and revisit. And if it's not making sense right now, it's going to make sense later.
Got you.
Yeah.
And then, when you like F up a braid, like a French braid or whatever, and how on TikTok you see them girls who are like pulling strands out and all of a sudden, and it's a perfect braid, then they start pulling the strands out. And somehow this thing looks like Elsa from Let It Go.
Yeah.
But it's a vibe. So it's like, could you
like a butterfly braid.
Yeah.
It's called the butterfly.
A butterfly braid, right? Where the pieces are coming out. So I feel like Raki, next time you mess it up, just do that bit where you fan the edges out.
Oh, yeah, you could do that too.
I mean?
She's getting the braid down, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. This is a whole new style. This is a whole new fit that we're going with. So really, there's no wrong or right answer. Now, you've also been doing some work last year in particular with some community products. Street Soccer Los Angeles, McDonald's, and Watts Empowerment Center invited you to come down, didn't they? Talk to us about that and how you're giving back to community.
Honestly, I really do enjoy giving back. I wish I could just honestly give back a lot more, but my schedule's a little bit hectic. But I really enjoy doing that. There's no better feeling than making people feel good, you know, especially kids. They loved it. It was a great time. You know, we were out on like a soccer field, and I hired 2 other braiders that I had known, you know, through working. And we just like created a vibe, and it was a really good experience. I really enjoyed it. I really want to do more of those giving back type of things.
I love that. And so right now, I know last time we talked, it was just you, and you were looking at potentially taking on more braiders to help with the workload. Where are you at in that kind of business process with regards to expansion?
You know, I think with that, I think I just need to either like build out a space. It's really hard. I think being like your own boss, you have to constantly think of new things. I mean, things look perfect on the outside. It's not always so perfect on the inside. And with me, I did hire someone to come and help out, but then I'm like, I can do that work also myself. I don't really need that. I think what I really need to focus on is like being time management. So not like crazy overbooking or saying yes to everything.
Yep.
Sometimes we feel like we need to always say yes to more clients, yes to more money, you know, but we need to take a step back and really, you know, take time for ourselves, think. So for the most part, I'm like usually working, but once I like grow, I think with like the product line, then I can like ease off and like not do as many like people to braid. But a lot of the times people come to see me, you know, which is kind of hard. They like look forward to seeing me and talking and chatting.
Having a catch up.
Yeah, and catching up. So right now that's on hold until I like focus on this little baby right here and try to grow this and then eventually grow that part.
Now, here's a question from all of the entrepreneurs out there. So you said when you started braiding, you were doing a lot of collaborations, a lot of free work. Then you were charging like $20 or whatever for, you know, braids. You know, there must have been a point where you were like, okay, you know, as you become more in demand, you know, you're going to raise your prices. But how do you go about that first jump? And you know, because I feel like when someone gets you at one price, they want you for that price forever, right? And so how do you kind of like navigate that as an entrepreneur? Is it something that you're just like, no, this is what it is, and you keep it pushing, you just up it on the site and away you go?
Like, I'm not someone that's like announcing on like social media, hey everyone, I'm upping my prices. Like, sorry, just wanted to let you know. I'm actually not too much like, you know, out there in that regards. I naturally like little by little put it like, you know, increased it. I felt like as I got better at braiding, I like increased it. Like I didn't want to like, you know, be like a shitty braider and then like charge so much money and then not like reflect my work. I did it at a time where I felt like I was slowly, and honestly, my clients are such great and nice people. They all are like, even now they're like, you are so cheap. I'm like, are you serious? I feel like I'm expensive, but like people are always telling me that. But I think like where I'm at right now is like a great spot because I want to be affordable to like everyone, you know, the rich, the poor, whatever it is. Like, I just want to be affordable. I want people to be, you know, it's so funny actually, like growing up, I was like, damn, like I wish I can get my hair done by like a celebrity hairstylist.
Yeah.
How cool would it be? But all the celebrity hairstylists are either signed or like so crazy expensive that it's kind of untouchable. And I kind of wanted to be the person that's like, oh yeah, she does celebrities and she does my hair. Like, how cool is that? You know?
Accessible. It's
accessible,
dope.
yeah.
Talk to us about the future of House of Braid.
The goal is to eventually, obviously create more products, you know, clean, toxic-free products, and that can work for braids and hairstyling. And then eventually I want to open up like either I'm thinking going the pop-up route and, you know, having like pop-ups like in certain cities where, you know, there'll be braiders and providing more opportunities for other braiders out there. Cause a lot of them, I'm one of them too, but we work from our homes, you know, it's really hard to find we don't know, I mean, maybe in New York, there's like places where you can get your hair braid. There's like a little hub or a store where you can go, but there's not like a cool, chic spot where you feel like you can go get your hair braided and they have everything there and you just show up to your appointment. Like the idea of how Dry Bar is.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
so that's like my eventual, like my future goals is like to create a space like that. It just takes time. It's not easy. And like someone like me, this stuff doesn't just happen overnight. You know, you want it to, but it doesn't happen overnight and it's not easy.
You've got time. You've got the time, Tassara. You have.
Do I?
Yeah, you're doing great, darling. We're going to close out with a little game.
Okay.
It's called Hair Care or Hair Nightmare.
Okay.
We've got 10 quick fire questions for you. I don't want you to overthink it. And I realize, and you're basically just going to fire back hair care if you feel like, yep, love it. Hair nightmare if you're like, no, hate it.
Okay. Hair care or hair nightmare?
So hair care or hair nightmare.
Okay.
Okay. A client comes in and they haven't washed their hair in over a week.
Hair nightmare?
Naturally.
Yeah.
Clients on mobile phones.
I don't care.
Hair care, hair nightmare, or I don't care. Last minute cancellations.
As bad as it sounds, I don't care. Only
Love
just,
it.
I mean, it's not a hair nightmare to me because I never have time anyway. So if someone cancels, I'm like, oh, great, more time for me.
Fair enough. Get that time back,
Yeah.
darling. What are you going to do with that time? We'll come to that in a second. 20-inch hair.
20-inch hair.
Yeah.
Hair nightmare.
Hair nightmare. Tough, isn't it? The tangle. Like, as my hair's gotten longer, like, the detangling is a real thing. Split ends.
Oh, hair nightmare.
Leave-in conditioner.
Hair nightmare.
Hair wax.
Oh, hair nightmare.
Hair gel.
Like before, this is all before coming to the appointment.
Absolutely.
Hair nightmare.
Here's one. Paper cuts.
Paper cuts.
So imagine this. I remember you, like, if you get a paper cut and then you have to braid someone's hair. Is that not like the worst nightmare?
That is the worst nightmare.
Oh,
I've had that happen to me actually, and it was so bad, especially if the gel like gets
in the crack.
Disgusting.
Brutal. That's it. Hair nightmare.
Hair nightmare. Yeah.
Love that. Tassara, that concludes the rest of our Slay podcast. You've been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you so much for my gift. I can't wait
know.
to get laid. Wait until you see me tomorrow. I'm going to be so
I can't wait till you to tell me what you think about this
I
product.
can't wait. What should I do? Pop it on in the morning? Because this is my style at the minute. And
it's actually great for this type of style. What I love most about it, it's not sticky. It doesn't get crunchy.
Yeah.
It's so soft. Like it'll look like that.
Yeah.
But imagine it's soft.
But without the crunch.
Without the crunch. And then imagine you take your hair out and it's not stiff.
That's amazing because right now this feels like a helmet.
Yeah. It's not going to feel like a helmet. It's going to feel good. And it's going to like lift your head. It's going to give you a nice natural facelift.
I love it. Tassara, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
In summary, Dolly Parton once said, find your niche or make one of your own. That concludes this episode of Slay. Stay tuned for more empowering discussions on female health, fitness, and life. You can follow me at Louise Hazel on social media, and you can follow Tassara at House of Braid. Check out her styling gel now, and you can check out the Slay brand at Slay Athletic. Don't forget to subscribe to the Slay podcast if you haven't done so already on Spotify and leave us a review. You can also get all of the tools and resources from our podcast from the Slay app. You can download that now for free from the App Store and join our online community.